and lies, and get your version of the short-cut incident. But they won't let him. They want to watch him in our company, and us in his. You see, it's an interesting reunion for you and him." "Well, let's get into these beastly clothes for it," groaned Davies. "I shall have a plunge overboard." Something drastic was required, and I followed his example, curious as the hour was for bathing. "I believe I know what happened just now," I said as we plied rough towels in the warmth below. "They steamed up, and found nobody on board. 'I'll leave a note,' says Dollmann. 'No independent communications,' say they, or think they. 'We'll come too, and take the chance of inspecting this hornet's nest.' Down they go, and Dollmann, who knows what to look for first, sees that damning bit of evidence staring him in the face. They look casually at the shelf among other things, examine the logbook, say, and he manages to push his own book out of sight. But he couldn't replace it when the interruption came. The action would have attracted attention then, and Böhme made him leave the cabin in advance, you know." "This is all very well," said Davies, pausing in his toilet, "but do they guess how we've spent the day? By Jove, Carruthers, that chart with the square cut out, there it is on the rack." "We must chance it, and bluff for all we're worth," I said. The fact was that Davies could not be brought to realise that he had done anything very remarkable that day, yet those 14 sinuous miles traversed blindfold, to say nothing of the return journey, and my own exploits, made up an achievement audacious and improbable enough to outdistance suspicion. Nevertheless, von Brüning's banter had been disquieting, and if an inkling of our expedition had crossed his mind or theirs, there were ways of testing us which it would require all our effrontery to defeat. "What are you looking for?" said Davies. I was at the collar and stud stage, but had broken off to study the timetable which we had bought that morning. "Somebody insists on coming by the night train to somewhere on the 25th," I reminded him. "Böhme, von Brüning and Grimm are to meet the somebody." "Where?" "At a railway station. I don't know where. They seemed to take it for granted. But it must be somewhere on the sea, because Böhme said 'the tide serves.' It may be anywhere from Emden to Hamburg." "Ho, there's a limit. It's probably somewhere near. Grimm was to come, and he's at Memmert. Here's the map. Emden and Norddeich are the only coast stations till you get to Wilhelmshaven. No, to Carolinensiel, but those are a long way east. And Emden's a long way south. Say Norddeich, then, but according to this there's no train there after 6:15 p.m. That's hardly night. When's high tide on the 25th? Let's see, 8:30 here tonight, Norddeich will be the same. Somewhere between 10:30 and 11 on the 25th. There's a train at Emden at 9:22 from Leer and the south, and one at 10:50 from the north." "Are you counting on another fog?" said Davies mockingly. "No, but I want to know what our plans are." "Can't we wait till this cursed inspection is over?" "No, we can't; we should come to grief." This was no barren truism, for I was ready with a plan of my own, though reluctant to broach it to Davies. Meanwhile, ready or not, we had to start. The cabin we left as it was, changing nothing and hiding nothing, the safest course to take, we thought, in spite of the risk of further search. But, as usual, I transferred my diary to my breast pocket, and made sure that the 2 official letters from England were safe in a compartment of it. "What do you propose?" I asked, when we were in the dinghy again. "It's a case of 'as you were'," said Davies. "To-day's trip was a chance we shall never get again. We must go back to last night's decision, tell them that we're going to stay on here for a bit. Shooting, I suppose we shall have to say." "And courting?" I suggested. Well, they know all about that. And then we must watch for a chance of tackling Dollmann privately. Not tonight, because we want time to consider those clues of yours." "Consider," I said. "That's putting it mildly." We were at the ladder, and what a languid stiffness oppressed me I did not know till I touched its freezing rungs, each one of which seared my sore palms like red-hot iron. The overdue steamer was just arriving as we set foot on the quay. "And yet, by Jove, why not to-night?" pursued Davies, beginning to stride up the pier at a pace I could not imitate. "Steady on," I protested. "And look here, I disagree altogether. I believe to-day has doubled our chances, but unless we alter our tactics it has doubled our risks. We've involved ourselves in too tangled a web. I don't like this inspection, and I fear that foxy old Böhme who prompted it. The mere fact of their inviting us shows that we stand badly, for it runs in the teeth of Brüning's warning at Bensersiel, and smells uncommonly like arrest. There's a rift between Dollmann and the others, but it's a ticklish matter to drive our wedge in. As to to-night, hopeless. They're on the watch, and won't give us a chance. And after all, do we know enough? We don't know why he fled from England and turned German. It may have been an extraditable crime, but it may not. Supposing he defies us? There's the girl, you see, she ties our hands, and if he once gets wind of that, and trades on our weakness, the game's up. What are you driving at? We want to detach him from Germany, but he'll probably go to any lengths rather than abandon his position here. His attempt on you is a measure of his interest in it. Now, is today to be wasted?" We were passing through the public gardens, and I dropped on to a seat for a moment's rest, crackling dead leaves under me. Davies remained standing, and pecked at the gravel with his toe. "We have got two valuable clues," I went on. "That rendezvous on the 25th is one, and the name Esens is the other. We may consider them to eternity. I vote we act on them." "How?" said Davies. "We're under a searchlight here, and if we're caught—" "Your plan—ugh! It's as risky as mine, and more so," I replied, rising with a jerk, for a spasm of cramp took me. "We must separate," I added as we walked on. "We want, at one stroke, to prove to them that we're harmless, and to get a fresh start. I go back to London." "To London?" said Davies. We were passing under an arc lamp, and for the dismay his face showed, I might have said Kamchatka. "Well, after all, it's where I ought to be at this moment," I observed. "Yes, I forgot. And me?" "You can't get on without me, so you lay up the yacht here, taking your time." "While you?" "After making inquiries about Dollmann's past, I double back as somebody else, and follow up the clues." "You'll have to be quick," said Davies abstractedly. "I can just do it in time for the 25th. When you say 'making inquiries'," he continued, looking straight before him, "I hope you don't mean setting other people on his track." "He's fair game," I could not help saying, for there were moments when I chafed under this scrupulous fidelity to our self-denying ordinance. "He's our game, or nobody's," said Davies, sharply. "Oh, I'll keep the secret," I rejoined. "Let's stick together," he broke out. "I shall make a muck of it without you. And how are we to communicate, meet?" "Somehow; that can wait. I know it's a leap in the dark, but there's safety in darkness." "Carruthers, what are we talking about? If they have the ghost of a notion where we have been to-day, you give us away by packing off to London. They'll think we know their secret, and are clearing out to make use of it. That means arrest, if you like." "Pessimist! Haven't I written proof of good faith in my pocket? Official letters of recall, received to-day? It's one deception